Well, Hotel family, peace and blessings. I greet you in the name of God and the ancestors, in whose footsteps I most humbly walk. I am your host. I'm your co-host for the Ed Mojo Herman for the Petoy International Film Festival. And with me today at the Piff Connection is
Dr. Kathleen Walls, Vice President of Piff.
And we are here, we are doing this new segment in the Piff Connection because since we have a film festival and we go to the movies and we look at films differently now.
Yes.
Because, I mean, the reality, so we wanted to do something, we wanted to add something to what the Piff Connection is already doing.
Yes,
So
because we review a lot of films. We go for pleasure.
Personal pleasures.
Yes, we follow pleasure. You know, we watch them for pleasure, but then people also send us films to review as well as books and scripts and so forth.
Oh, yeah.
Right, to review. And so sometimes it's a matter of seeing how something could be put into film.
Right.
And so one of the things with being a doctor of psychology, one of my professors thank you, clinical psychology, very early on.
I'd be listening, she trained me well.
That's right. Told us and taught us about looking at films critically and clinically. And so you start to look at the layers within the film, and after talking to so many filmmakers over the last 5+ years, 6 years, you know, you start to look at it with a different lens.
Oh yeah, definitely. I know I look at it from lighting, sound, editing, you know, angles that they shoot.
Exactly.
Because, you know, it's like a lesson for me.
Yeah.
I'm always looking to learn and be better.
Exactly.
So I look at what the so-called experts, people who are doing these big budget movies. And for me, when I say big budget, anything over $5 million is big budget, which I know is not true.
Right, right. So, you know, so we were talking yesterday after we went to the movies, and we continued to talk about the movie that we saw.
Great movie.
And of course we thought about, and I started looking at reviews of the movie to see, did it, you know, go along with what I thought and felt, and how much money did it make, and how much money did it make over opening weekend versus second. And so we started looking at all of these different components, and then of course we thought about our upbringing with Siskel and Ebert and how they were very popular in their reviews. And we know a lot of people do different reviews, but we said, you know what, we haven't done reviews as a husband and wife, president and vice president of a film festival that has many different components.
Yes.
And so we said, let's do it. Let's do it. And so here we are.
And you see, the unique thing, we said this before on the other show we did, was that she's a woman of color from the U.S.
Yes.
I'm a man of color from the Caribbean. So we have different upbringing,
different life experiences that shape our views and opinions.
So some things that make me laugh and stuff, and say, ha ha ha. She look at me like, what's so funny about that? I just think of back home, and vice versa.
Yeah, yeah.
And so we are bringing that to this show, and I know people saying, what movie are you talking about? What movie are we talking about?
So we went to go see The Photograph featuring Issa Rae, which was a love story. It came out for Valentine's Day.
And I love Issa Rae.
Yes,
I love this
yes he does. Yes he does, and I do too.
Yeah.
You know, so it was a nice love story. It was, I would say, describe it as gentle to the spirit, meaning that there was not horror and a lot, you know, not really a lot of suspense, but yet some suspense. There were pieces where you wanted to put it together.
It's a different angle in Black Love, an angle that we don't see a lot of. It's like, you know, and that was very refreshing for me.
Yeah.
So when we came out, we were talking about a couple of movies, like, you know, we said, like, this is going to be one of those classics.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, a lot of us are not going to see it because the numbers in the box office numbers should be much higher. Because we ask for these type of movies because we're tired of seeing one type of black love.
Yeah, so we started talking about, like, how is black love, how are black relationships, people from the African diaspora portrayed on screen.
Yeah.
And so we started thinking, it was like, what married couples or what dating movies or television shows do we know of? And so of course, you know, we thought about The Cosby Show, we thought about Blackish, we thought about, of course, the classics, Love Jones and Brown Sugar, The Best Man, The Wood.
See, we were going through, and unfortunately, we started going through and we still have fingers left.
Right, and then we start going, and then, you know, and then we thought about Baby Boy and Goodness,
was
Boys in the Hood and New
Hood.
Jack City. So then we started looking at all of these different movies in which we're represented, and then a lot of times for like brainless television, predictable,
Brainless.
soft. When I'm just doing something and I maybe want some noise in the background, I'll watch Hallmark or I'll put Hallmark on because I know it's not going to drive my suspense up. I'm not going to be horrified and so forth. And so one of the things that we've talked about were the number of black people on Hallmark. And then are there any shows or movies that feature characters, black characters with that type of leading with that type of love story? And so when we watched The Photograph yesterday, there was that moment of breath where it was like, yes, and relatability.
And we say all that, we don't have nothing against the what we've seen out there. It's just that we as a people, we have 360 degrees to us. But unfortunately, from our perspective, we see maybe one or two of the same degrees all the time being portrayed in movies, like, you know, gunplay, sexual violence, abuse of women. So we keep seeing these, and you know, that is unfortunately, it's part of our culture, part of our lifestyle, of our life on this planet. But it's not that's not only who we are.
Right.
And so when we saw The Photograph yesterday, it was a breath of fresh air for us because we saw three generations, three generations
so there were,
interconnected.
There were so many pieces to it. So first of all, when we talk about...
First of all, thank you, Issa Rae.
Yes. And everybody that took
everybody
part.
in it. But
right, the person who wrote it, you know, and then those who starred in it. It was crucial.
Yeah, but the thing I like about her, here's her sister, she's using all her attributes. The way she uses her eyes and her facial expressions in the movies. She sells her role,
character.
her character, so thank you, her character so well with her facial expressions and stuff like that. And yeah, so play.
It made me forget my first of all. So first of all, just being able to see people that look like us on screen.
Yes.
And so many times
plus.
we've heard people talk about that and the importance of it. And I am a person that has a very vivid imagination, so it doesn't really matter what's on screen to me. I can visualize myself in it. But I did have a moment while watching this movie where I know some people might refer to it as breaking the fourth wall, where able to connect with the character and empathize and truly feel and experience what they did. And there was that one moment where, as you mentioned, 3 generations, where her mother was crying and she was crying, feeling what her mother must have felt. And in that very moment, I had a visceral crying response where I was like, I know that cry.
And what made that scene so powerful is that her mom wasn't alive.
Right.
So she was actually reading a letter that her mom wrote to her. Her mom had already made her transition. And she got a point in the letter where she started crying, and they flashed back to her mom crying at that same point. And it's like...
And it was that, you know, I've seen, I've experienced, I've done it myself, that type of cry. And so to be able to see someone on screen experience that and me connect with it, it was a very powerful moment for me. And I was like, oh, I get it.
And also, like, what made that moment so powerful is like when Issa Rae was acting it out, she did a great job of acting it out.
She did.
She went into...
She did.
And that's what made it even better, because she wasn't acting crying. She was like, you really thought she was crying.
Right.
It's like, she's really crying.
Right. That was her life story.
That was her life story.
And we can say that we can pick out various pieces throughout the movie with different characters, the leading man, and also and the various males in the film. So there was a lot to connect with. So of course, you know, I give it a thumbs up. I give it a tambourine shake.
Yeah, I give it. The downside.
Okay.
There's one downside for me in the film. There's only 4 people in the movie theater. It's us and another couple.
Now, I said to him, though, we went right at the end of the workday on a weekday.
Yeah, but I went to
after a 4-day holiday.
We've done that for the Black Panther. We've done that. We've done that for other movies, and there's people in there. So on a Friday. Yeah, I know there's a lot of stuff going on.
Yes.
But is this the second week? If it was like the fourth week.
So we can't say you have a problem with the film. There's not a
Oh, no.
downside
No,
with the film.
No, as I said, the downside for me in the whole experience of going to the movies yesterday
Yes.
and seeing the movie. The movie was was plus all the way. But to sit there and all of a sudden we saw another couple walking, we was like, there's four people in here now. I thought it was like, no, is this the second week? If it was like the third week or the fourth week,
Yes.
I'll be okay, cool.
Yes.
But the movie just came out last
But
week.
that's what caused us to start to look more in depth with the film.
Yeah.
But we can talk about that afterwards. I want to talk about the film some more.
Go ahead, Dr. Wall. That's a clinical psychology. And she's breaking it down. I'm happy she's doing that because it gives us another angle in Piff when we look at movies and people say, why why did you say yes to this movie? Why did you say no to this movie? Because not just because it's our film festival, we look at other films that's not in our film festival and see what's going on out there. Because I feel one of Piff's objectives is to be able to help young filmmakers who don't have the opportunities that we have here in the U.S. to get the films to that level. See, because I don't want no one to lower the standards for us because we're in so-called developing countries. I want us to bring our levels up to where they are. So we might not have all the equipment they have, but the equipment does not make you a good or bad actor. Okay, so it just helps you tell your story better. So if I look at a movie made somewhere in a so-called developing country, I can say, well, if they had better cameras, a better lighting, but the acting was good.
And that's about the photograph yesterday.
Yeah.
The piece.
The budget was what?
The budget was $16 million. Reportedly between 14 and 16 million.
She did her research.
Right.
So we're not pulling these numbers. She actually did her research.
Right.
While we were in the car leaving the movie.
Exactly, because I wanted to see.
Yeah.
But it was also looking at the writing, the power of the writing that was happening, the power of the acting, the depth of character. I know in school many times we had to role play and we had to develop characters, and I could see why some role plays worked better than others because of the depth of character. And so what I appreciated about Issa Rae's character is that it actually had 3 generations built in. It referenced her grandmother, it referenced her mother, as well as herself. And so as well as her developing self from when she was a little girl through to her present age. And so there was a lot of character development, which I think helps an actor because it's not like they're improvising. They actually have a substantial person to play.
I have to say something. I mean, he had a very small role, but his role did a very good job of connecting certain pieces of the story with Courtney Vance.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to say. But he did a great job. His role wasn't a major role, but his role was very important.
Yeah.
And the words he used to describe his position.
Yes.
And that was really cool.
And that's the other thing with the story, the relatability. I have heard people discuss this type of story across ethnicities, across race. I've heard Asian people tell this type of story.
Yes.
I've heard white people, Caucasian people tell this type of story. I've heard Italians talk about this type of story. And so it was relatable, I think, to a lot of people. And so when you talk about people attending it, sometimes when people see an all-black cast, for whatever reason, it's like, well, only black people are supposed to go see this movie. And that's not true. It was a love story that I think people can connect to.
Yeah, and I know, Dr. Walls, it's that's a poor excuse some people use about it's a black, because how many movies have you gone and seen that's all white cast with good love stories? I mean, look
even
at
cartoons.
So people use that as an excuse not to. I think for me personally, some people use it not to support these movies because some people just don't want to see that part of black life, and it's going to be up to us, people of color, to support, because The movie, if you're looking at the numbers, it didn't break even yet.
Not yet. As of
Maybe
yesterday, it
didn't
hadn't.
break even yet.
Right.
Hopefully by this weekend it will.
Right.
So some people in the film industry would say, well, why should we put
Money behind it and
another
support.
project like this, that this one barely broke even. And so we have to be very, very mindful that if you have someone in the film industry, a family member or friend, or someone who's trying to get their movie and they're having difficulty getting funded, it's because this is one of the reasons.
Right.
People who put the money, they look at these numbers. They look at, they don't really care about the story that much.
The
They look at-
content.
because Black Panther proved that.
Right.
Right. So they're looking at, they're like, okay,
Prove
are we
what
gonna
specifically?
prove that that they can make their money back.
Yes.
So they're looking to, can a movie like this, if I do another one like this,
Right.
will I make money on it?
Right.
And if the photograph doesn't make money, they could use that as a reason why not to fund another movie in that type of that type of Black love.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
we have to be careful about that.
And you know, the other thing when you talk about that type of Black love, showing it was they had a socioeconomic status. They were global citizens.
Yes.
They would travel nationally and internationally.
Yes.
And so it was a different group of people, so to speak, that many times isn't highlighted with an all-black cast.
And the thing is, when they went to Louisiana, because once again, talking about putting money into community, they went to Louisiana and they shot some of this movie. When they went down there, you saw the part of Louisiana where the people are struggling.
Yes.
Okay, and when they came to Queens, New York, and shot in Queens, you saw another aspect of Black life is on the upper echelon of Black life.
Yes.
So you saw from one side of Black life to another side of Black life.
Throughout the spectrum, I
And
would
so
say.
that was really cool. And I
Yeah.
said that's why this movie is so powerful. If you sit there and just enjoy and watch this movie, I think as a person, particularly, especially for people of color, you will see something that will touch you.
Yeah.
I think
And
so.
the other piece that I liked was the role of women in
yeah. Oh,
it, their
nice.
empowerment, their choosing to move in certain directions that maybe socially weren't expected or
Yeah.
common at different social contexts at different times.
Yeah. But when Issa Rae said what her job was, I was like,
Yes.
go ahead, sis.
Yes.
I'm not going to tell you what her job
But-
title was, but you
'cause
got to go
you
see the
didn't-
movie.
exact-
You don't see a lot of Black women in that position.
No, you do not.
Yeah, so.
First of
when
all, you don't even think about that being a job unless you're in that industry.
Right.
Yeah.
So when you go see the movie and she tells you, you think about how many times it's really cool. And so like they truly showed another side of Black life that we don't see a lot in the movie. I don't know who the writer was.
Yeah, I don't
but
remember
the
her
writer.
name.
The writer did a great job of writing a great script. The
Yes.
screenwriter, it was a really good script they put together, and they had the acting was phenomenal in the movie.
Yeah.
From Courtney B. Vance, and so it was really cool.
It was. The supporting cast was also very good, which helped shape out the movie. And you could definitely see, I mean, easily could imagine a sequel.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. The way it ended, you could have a sequel.
Yeah.
They could go into the next couple of generations.
Yes, they could.
And
Yes,
they could still jump back to the mom and stuff, because what Courtney Vance said in his last part in the movie, his last acting part in the movie, what he said there was very powerful, and it could actually take you into another aspect of us as people of color.
Yes.
Why we, a Black man being strong, but yet showing a soft side to us.
Yeah.
So that was really cool.
Well, I'm curious. So the movie was called The Photograph,
Yeah.
and here I am with a photographer, and
Who?
it featured a woman from a time when there weren't a lot of female photographers, and then of course leaving a certain part of the country to move to another part of the country on her own
And
to
the mother
pursue.
played that part
Yes.
when she went in for her first job. When
Yes.
she came, yeah. So, yeah, you're right.
So what was that like for you to see someone who was so passionate about photography at that time, and then a woman of color?
I was really good. I mean, it made me think when I headed Reverend Al Sharpton's photo department, right? We had a lot of female photographers in there, and I always made sure people saw them. Some of them didn't want to be seen, but I made people. Because we had some really good female photographers in there, and I think it was important that people see that women could do that also.
Yes.
We know they can.
Yes.
But we don't see it all the time. We don't see it that much. So I think when we have the opportunity to show it, for me at least, when I had the opportunity to show it,
Yeah.
I made sure, even though my one time my vice president was a female in the photo club for Women Sharpton. So I always made sure I put them out there because I wanted young girls to see women doing that.
Yeah.
I wanted young boys to see women doing that.
And so I think that's interesting. That's another aspect of this movie, is that it did show potential professions, careers, and the drive and the determination that is needed to be in an industry that many times is male dominated.
And her mom did a great job.
Yeah.
Being a very well-known photographer.
Yes.
Before she made her transition.
Yes.
So the whole thing, I think it's a really, like I said, there's so much. And if you go see the movie, you probably see pieces that we didn't see because from your perspective, and that's what makes this movie such a good movie, Dr. Waltz, is that because it encompasses so much of black life.
Yes.
I think any black person, person of color who wants to go see this movie
Yes.
will see something of themselves
Yeah.
or something or someone they know in their family
For true.
in that movie. It's
Yeah.
a very good movie.
Yeah.
I mean, you could tell whoever wrote it they wrote from the heart.
For sure.
They wrote from the heart.
And it definitely, at when we've done Piff in St. Lucia, we've always done panels
Yeah.
with the filmmakers
Yes, those who do
and
come,
the
yes.
actors and actresses that are in the movies. And we talk about the different mental health pieces,
Yes. Yes,
as
you do.
well as and the process, right?
Yeah.
Those things that come up in movies. And I left that movie going, I would love to interview Issa Rae
Man, Issa, call us.
and the writer.
Oh, the writer. Oh,
And the male act. Now we cannot leave Lakeith. I don't know his last name, right?
yeah.
His intensity.
It's really good. He played his
Oh,
part.
my goodness, the passion that came across and his interest.
Where did the acting and the reality?
I know.
It's like, it was one of the.
It was very
He did a really
intense.
good job. He did a really good
Yeah.
job. So I mean, all around they did a good job casting, up and down. And then even the young girl who played Issa Rae did a nice little job.
Yes, she did.
She did nice. Good.
Yes, she did.
She did a young
Yeah,
actress.
it was a nice balance. I didn't feel like one person was carrying somebody else. I felt as though each person brought their A game.
The A game, and their part was essential to the storytelling.
It was.
Every part was very essential. It
was.
wasn't like, now why did they have her there for?
Right.
No, everybody knew
Right.
it was for a reason, and so I think that was a really good thing. And for those who enjoy movies and always looking for something quality, there's no gunplay.
Right. I don't remember hearing any cursing.
Yeah, I mean, there's sometimes they use some soft adult language in there because it was adult. I mean, the love scene was done very tastefully. There was
very
nothing
tasteful.
seen,
Yes.
so that was really good and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So we were looking at a lot of different things. So we advise you to go check the movie out.
Yes, we encourage you. All right.
Okay, so we'll talk to you all next time at
right.
Piff at the Movies.
Take
Finesse from walking home and talking loads to seeing shores and evening clothes with you, from nervous touch and getting drunk to staying up and waking up with you. When I was slipping